You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. He looked good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off Day with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. Thursday, April 16th. Thank you guys so much for joining us. However you're watching the show today, we appreciate that. Hopefully everyone survived the weather last night, especially here in the Quad Cities. We had a tornado warning, which had the kids super excited. Me, maybe not as much, but the kids were very excited about the storms last night, but everything calmer today, and we have a great show for you. I'm really excited about today's show coming up here in just a matter of moments. If you're watching us on YouTube, we appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. We're nearly to 1,600 subscribers, so if you have subscribed, thank you. If you have not, take the time to do it. It's as simple as can be. Click the subscribe button and you're set to go. No money, no nothing like that. And we'll let you know when the show's on each and every day, 9 a.m. Right here in the Quad Cities. We're talking sports and a whole bunch more. So thank you for doing that. If you have, if you haven't, please do so ASAP. Also, be interactive on the chat as well. We have a YouTube chat that's a lot of fun every day. We got our normal people in there, our everydayers, and then people that stop by with questions, all those kind of things. So be interactive with the show as well. We're also live on X. X has been very, very good to us. So if you're watching us on X, thank you for that. We are available on all your podcasting platforms as well. So whether it be iHeart, Podbean, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, go on there and put in Off Day with Matt Randazzo. You can listen to the show each and every day. And also we are want to welcome our viewers from Central Iowa. We are on the WHO Plus app every single evening as well. Enjoy being there. Enjoy the feedback from you guys as well. So thank you guys for supporting the show each and every evening as well. It's been a fun week on the show so far. We had Luke Johnson on Monday. We had a bunch of we covered everything yesterday, whether it's Hawkeyes, Cyclones, Illini, we covered it all. So check out the shows from earlier this week as well, and really excited about what we have coming up on today's show. Joining us in a matter of moments will be former Davenport North standout and Iowa freshman, I guess now sophomore to be, Johnny Huesman. Had a great season, took the most of every opportunity that she got with the Iowa women's basketball program and made a big impact on the team as well. So we will be joined by Johnny Huesman here in just a matter of moments as well. We'll also going to talk about the Iowa women's basketball program. They add a commitment of another transfer. So right after Journey gets done, we'll have Kyle Huesmann coming on talking about the two commitments now for the University of Iowa women's basketball program and what's left, because obviously still some shoes to be filled when it comes to next year's roster. Addie Deal, who went to the transfer portal, has committed to Wisconsin. That's intriguing. We'll talk to him about that as well. So we'll go Johnny Huesman, we'll go Kyle Huesman, and then we're going to talk a lot of sports in the second hour of the show with my good friend Johnny Marx. We usually do a Marxy Monday this week. The past couple Mondays, super busy when it comes to the interviews we've been having, also the news that's been breaking. So we'll catch up with Johnny, talk to him about some college sports news, some high school sports, a little NFL draft as well. So a busy show once again. Before we get rocking and rolling with Johnny Huesman, a few news and notes. And when it comes to the world of the transfer portal, it's a good time to be a Fighting Illini fan, because they are not only adding players, but they are also retaining players as well. David Mirkovic, announcing yesterday in the afternoon he is returning to the University of Illinois. A big proponent, or big part, I should say, of what Illinois did this past season, going to the Final Four. He will return after his freshman season, so a big get for the University of Iowa there. And then they kept adding to it in the evening. Both Isevich kids are coming back. Also, Jake Davis announces he's coming back as well. So retention-wise, 4 of the main 5 are back. Still waiting to hear on Stojakovic to see if he's coming back as well. But they've added the Vox kid from the portal. They have a really good recruiting class when it comes to freshmen, Quentin Coleman, and all of those kind of things. And then the possibility is out there that John Blackwell joins in on the fun. We had Ked Prince on yesterday. He believes that Illinois is in really good shape to land him as well. So a good Wednesday if you are a Fighting Illini basketball fan. Also, some interesting news right after we get done with Tyler Tashman yesterday. Some news from Tavion Banks of the Iowa basketball program, of course. Tavion announcing that he is going to explore all options when it comes to his basketball career, making himself available for the NBA draft, but also trying to get another year of eligibility. And if he's granted the 5th year, he wants to be a Hawkeye. I think the big picture with that is he wants to be a Hawkeye, and I'm sure Ben McCullum would love to have Tavion Banks back. Just depends on the timing of everything. I don't think I was going to wait around forever to find out what happens with Tavion Banks. So he gets in the portal just to make sure he has all options open. But that's something we'll keep an eye on when it comes to the Iowa men's basketball program. Still waiting for a transfer into that program. They've had some visitors. The Kyron Evans kid from North Carolina was on campus yesterday. The McKeever kid from the 7'3" kid from St. Mary's has been in already, so we'll see if Iowa can start landing a few transfer portal guys. And remember, their retention is really good as well. They haven't gone out there and announced everyone coming back, but everybody's coming back when it comes to everyone but Alvaro Figueres. So good retention at the University of Iowa as well. Speaking of good and the University of Iowa, it was a really good season for one of our Quad City products. Journey Huesman went to the University of Iowa not knowing what to expect and made the most of every opportunity. And for that, she gets to join us once again right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. So joining us now, a very familiar face here in the Quad Cities, former Davenport North standout. And are you a sophomore officially at Iowa? Not yet, technically, but sophomore to be.
In a couple weeks.
There you go.
Yeah,
Sophomore
I'll be
to
done with my freshman year.
I love it. Journey Huesman joining us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. First and foremost, I know we joked earlier, but thank you for always doing this. I appreciate you.
Of course, anytime.
I love it. The freshman season is in the books. I guess your overall thoughts on how things went. We kind of talked several times throughout it. Now that it's all said and done, can you look back and kind of reflect on how it went for you at Iowa City?
I think it was just a great freshman year for me. I had a lot of different experiences. I had to play out of position for the team, so I learned a lot, and now I have, a whole nother position in my bag that will only help me continue to progress and, just help me with my game.
I love it because I think if I heard the word Journey Huesman or the name Journey Huesman and opportunity once, I heard it a million times during the year, how Journey was making the most of her opportunities. Can you talk about that? Because you didn't know what opportunities exactly you would get as a freshman. What was your thought process when it came to opportunities and making the most of them throughout your freshman season?
Yeah, just my mindset has always been to never take anything for granted and be grateful for everything that I'm given, no matter if it's exactly what I want or if it's perfect. So it took me a little bit, I had tough days to get through the mindset of I'm a guard, I can't do this. And then I pushed through, and every opportunity, I knew it would not only help myself, but it would benefit my team, and it's what we needed. So I just did what I needed to help my team.
When did you, and I know the freshman class got close quickly, and the entire team had a really good vibe, but there were injuries and setbacks from teammates about. How do you handle that? Is it just kind of the same thing where obviously you don't want to see anybody get injured and all those kind of things, but making the most of those opportunities? Did you raise your hand and say, Coach, I'll play 4. I'll jump in there and do that? Or how did that evolve throughout the season as you kind of learned where they needed you to be on and off the floor?
Yeah, like you said, obviously, you always want your whole team to be healthy, but when people did start to go down, that kind of was an opportunity for me to, step in and do what I needed to. And again, like I keep saying it, but the main thing, and I feel like some people have kind of lost the plot when it comes to it, but team, like it's team ball, and you just want to succeed all together.
When did you feel comfortable? I may have asked you this in the past. Was there a moment where you felt comfortable going from Davenport North and the high school level to college? Did you feel comfortable right away? Did you walk in here and say, yeah, I'm ready to rock? When did you start feeling comfortable when it came to playing Big Ten basketball at the highest level on the Division I level?
Yeah, I feel like I kind of did walk in with that mentality, but then obviously I kind of got hit with reality and what college ball actually was about. So it took me a while to gain some confidence. And if I'm being completely honest, I don't even think by the end of the year that I had all like a whole bunch of confidence and just every time I stepped out on the floor, like, just being a freshman, that's a part of it. Like you're always going to have a little bit of doubt and, not be 110% about everything. So I feel like that's why going into my sophomore year, I'll just be a more confident player.
If you could go back, and you can't, but if you could go back and as you are right now, talk to yourself a year ago, or maybe even 6 months ago, and gave yourself advice on what the Big Ten and the season was going to be like, what would you have told yourself back then that you know now about the experience that was to come?
I guess I would just tell myself like, just because I did have to play down low, like, there's gonna be physicality and it's gonna be tough. You're gonna have bad days and want to cry, but just keep pushing through because in the end it'll all be worth it. And I feel like I got to see a little glimpse of that.
When you look at Journey Houston, by the way, joining us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, when you look at your game, and so many people talk about knocking down shots, you knock down some threes, and I'm sitting here yelling as loud as I can from the Quad Cities. This is what she did for 4 years. This is what I watched. Were you that way as well? Like, I mean, you got forced to play a different position. You embraced it. You did fantastic. But I keep telling people, Journey, like I remember standing on the sidelines and the baseline. There was a lot of jump shots, a lot of threes, a lot of transition buckets from you. Are you excited to maybe show more of that game to the fans? Maybe next year in the future.
100%. Like, I'm already so eager. Like, I've been in the gym. I've honestly stayed in the gym. Like, after we lost, I took a 2 weeks off exactly. And ever since then, like, I'm using tennis balls. I'm trying to get my shot quicker. Like, I'm just doing everything I need to, plus more to just when it is my time to show everyone, like, this is who I am. Like, you guys had to see that, but this is who I actually am.
Journey Houston joining us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. You mentioned team. Let's talk about this basketball team. And the finish wasn't what everybody wanted, but the journey, no pun intended, was pretty fun. When did you guys hit your stride? I remember talking to you around Christmas, and you guys were playing really good basketball into the Big Ten to go 15-3, I think is what it was, and to play the basketball that you ladies played. When did you guys feel that you were hitting your stride or playing some of your best basketball?
Yeah, just how you said, probably around Christmas time. Like, I just feel like we were doing really well playing as a team, and we were all just really feeding off of each other, and it was just a positive environment. And like you said, it was a tough loss at the end, but we all learned from it, and I'm grateful to get to play with, Kylie and Hannah and T Mac and Jada. They were all great people, but I'm also just putting that in the past now and kind of looking forward to the season.
Journey, you guys do well in the Big Ten tournament, make it to the championship game. The NCAA tournament, you're hosting the NCAA tournament. As a young girl, you've had to dream of that kind of stuff. Did you ever take a second and sit back and go, okay, this is cool. This is a lot of hard work I put in. Were you even able to do that? Or maybe now reflecting, what was it like to play in the NCAA tournament, to play in the Big Ten championship game, things that I'm sure were bucket list things that or goals that you wanted to accomplish in your career?
Yeah, for me, it definitely was surreal because I have dreamed of that. And, I've been working hard basically my whole life to get to this point. So, that's an accomplishment within itself. And even though we didn't like end on a great note, people didn't even expect us to get to where we got. So, you kind of just have to find the positive in everything. And that's the bright side that I try to look at.
I got to talk to you about this off season so far because obviously you talked about getting back in the gym. What is the motivation personally and then team wise? Because there was a lot of success, which motivates. There's a loss at the end that probably motivates maybe even more. What is the mindset going into the off season? Obviously you saw the success you can have and then it ended the way it did. How do you guys approach or how have you approached the off season?
Yeah, like right now, my mindset, like I'm just really hungry. I, like I said, playing on the perimeter, like I can't express enough like how excited I am for that because we're gonna be doing a 4 out 1 in offense. So, I'm excited for that. And then just team wise, I obviously want the best for my team. So I know the better that I do and the more I push myself, it'll not only help myself but my team.
Can you talk to me about that teammate of yours, Ava Hayden? Is she as good in person and up close and playing next to her as she is? And what makes her tick? I think she's one of the best players in the country going into next year. You smile. It's fun. It's fun sharing the floor with Ava Hayden.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, playing with her is just so fun. She kind of started to get out her shell as well towards the end of the season. So that was nice to see. And just off the court, she's a great person as well. And that just makes it so much easier to like want to support her and want good for her because she's just an overall very balanced person.
Journey, you look at this offseason and I got to ask because it's college basketball. What was your mindset going in? Obviously, people departed, and that's college basketball these days. Did you have that decision? Did you sit down and think about it? Was it ever a thought? Or were you like, I'm playing at the University of Iowa. This is what I've dreamt of doing. What was the mindset and the decision-making process that you had this offseason?
I guess for me, it's like I have always dreamed of coming here. It's close to home, and um, for me, I don't mind adversity. I don't mind having to, work for a spot or, just pushing myself. Like I like that kind of stuff. Like that's why Coach Jay says all the time, like I'm a dog. I love to compete. So it really wasn't a question for me to leave. I love my team. I love being here. So I don't plan on leaving either.
No, I think Iowa fans will love to hear that as well. Is it different to look around and not judging, or it's college basketball, it's everywhere, but is it weird to look around last week and be like, there's 7 of us or 6 of us left? Is it different? And do you keep track of the portal when it comes to new teammates, people coming for visits? I mean, all that affects how good of a basketball team you guys will have next year. Do you keep in touch with all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it definitely was different because I mean we went from 14 to there's only 5 of us here right now. We have McKenna coming, then we have Danny now and Amari, who they're all great people. We're with them on the visits. We hang out, go out to eat, and so yeah, I'm definitely glad that they're gonna be Hawkeyes and a part of our team. So we officially have 8 people, and we're just gonna keep adding. So.
You guys can't even scrimmage right now. If you need me, I can come up and scrimmage with you. So let me know if you need me.
Oh my goodness.
Are you a salesperson right now, Journey, when you have these visits? And what's the sell? Give me the Journey Houston come to Iowa sell. Not that you guys would ever want me, but like, what would you sell? What's the sell from Journey Houston when you talk to transfers or even recruits when it is to come to the University of Iowa?
Um, I guess I just kind of say like if you love to compete, if you want to work hard and want to be surrounded by people who really care for you and genuinely want the best for you, then come here because you're gonna get all of that plus more. So that's just kind of what I've said to each of them, and they obviously, I mean, I sold them, so or we did as a team, like
No,
to
you got
come
the
here.
assist.
So
Make sure you get the
yeah,
assist, right? That's the best assist
yeah.
you might have had all year. Can you talk to me about Coach Jensen? Because, and we've talked about this in the past. When you committed to Iowa, you committed, I believe, for Lisa, and you stayed with, and obviously you wanted to play for Coach Jensen, and you talked about she calls you a dog, and I had conversations with her too. She was on the show when we were in that Carver Hawkeye. She was on the radio show that I did for pregame for the University of Iowa, and she glows about you. And you kind of do the same. What is it about her and your relationship that makes it special?
I guess that like I always use it as an example because it's like the adversity that I had to face. But with the position, like playing out of position, she just helped me a lot. Because like I'm a freshman, I'm young, I'm still 18. Like I had days when I really like got down on myself or was just struggling. So like obviously she's always there for me on the court and she'll critique me and tell me what I need to do, which I appreciate. But also off the court, like anytime she's so busy, like I don't even think she gets as much rest as she should. But like if you want to go to coffee with her, if you want to have dinner at her house, like she's just always open to anything, which is something that is just like you want that from a coach, and I'm just so thankful that I have a coach like that.
Is she ever down Is she ever in a bad mood? Is she? We don't see. I'm sure you guys see it, but like, sure, her energy is crazy. Is she ever? Do you ever see her and she's just chill or no?
Rarely. I mean, she's always just on the go, so.
I love it. Journey Houston joining us on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. The cool part here in the Quad Cities, Journey, is you're a Davenport North girl, and I know the Wildcat Nation is extremely proud of you, but you become a Quad City girl, and I don't know if you felt that or realize it or know it, but the entire Quad Cities watches and roots for you, and you're ours, whether you like it or not. Do you feel that? And what's that like, either game day, seeing somebody from the Quad Cities and having me yell that? Do you get those kind of things? And do you feel the love, I guess, from back home as you continue to do good things at the University of Iowa?
Yeah, I definitely do, and I'm very appreciative of that. A lot of the time it's in-person interactions because on social media, even some of the stuff is good, but there is a lot of bad, so I try not to look at it too much. But I have had interactions with people, and I'm just grateful for thankful for all the support that I get from everyone.
You guys were one of my favorite groups to cover. I go back through my probably too many long career doing covering sports, and you remember the teams and your team and you and Divine and all the girls there at North were a fun group to cover. Obviously Divine going to LSU last year, she went into the portal. Watching from afar or even staying in touch with your thoughts of her move to the Big Ten now. And you guys are rivals. I don't know if you know that. So your thoughts of Divine and her decision to move a little closer to home and play across the river.
Yeah, we check up on each other here and there, and I'm excited for her to get the opportunity that she's deserved, and I'm excited to play her now, and we'll see how that game goes.
That's not that's the political answer. Have you played against her? Like, you've played so much with her, and can you help with the scout? Like, will you be there in the office and be like, all right, coach, okay, let me, she likes to do this, she likes to do that. What will that prep be like when Illinois plays Iowa next year?
Yeah, I mean, we played a couple of Chat's teammates too, and she gave us the scoop. So anything that'll help my team win, I'm gonna do. So
I love it. Journey, when it comes to the off season, you talked about getting back to work. What does it look like for you? Because you're in the gym a ton. You took 2 weeks off. I guess we'll start there. What did you do for 2 weeks? Did you just get away from basketball and do fun? What was 2 weeks away from basketball like for someone who lives and breathes basketball? What'd you do?
I really just took time to myself. I got organized because it's really hard sometimes during season. So I got a lot of stuff done, and I went for walks, and I didn't touch a ball for 2 weeks. So hung out with family. I just did a lot of different things and enjoyed my time away. But now I'm ready to be back.
Did you miss it? And when you got back, it's only 2 weeks, so I doubt there is, but was there any rust, or did you miss the game?
I did start to miss it like towards the end of my time of like my break. I just kind of wanted to get back to it, but I just knew for my mental and physical, like I needed that 2 weeks just to not really do much.
Absolutely. During the off season, you talked about tennis balls, which is interesting to me. You got to explain that a little bit. Are you just shooting with tennis balls? What's going on there? And does that help or hurt or what?
No, I'm not shooting with tennis balls. I'm probably gonna be at the 3-4 spot this year. I mean, it's not 110% set, but that's a part of my game I have to work on at this level. So I use those for ball handling for my reaction time. So I've been doing workouts like that. I don't
Okay.
shoot with the tennis
All right, I was
ball.
going to say I don't think that's but what are the things you want to improve on? You just mentioned some, but what are the things that you want to I mean, I think people would say like, hey, she's got to be able to shoot it. Everybody, she can shoot the basketball, don't worry. But what are the things that you need to work on for next year?
I'll just start off my ball handling, and then my I can shoot the ball, but my like release, I tend to bring it down and go back up. And I also kind of have a float dribble, like instead of just going straight downhill. So there's just little things that I need to tweak. I mean, it's nothing major, and I have plenty of time to, tighten up on it all. So, and my stamina as well, handling the ball. is a lot of conditioning. So I've already tweaked my physique a little bit, and I have, some still to go, but everything's kind of starting to fall into place.
A few more for Johnny Huesman before I let her get out of here. The Quad Cities, we talked about it. There's a basketball in the Quad Cities, and Journey, you know it. There's more and more young ladies from our area playing college basketball at a high level. What would you say to young girls in the Quad Cities when it comes to looking at you and watching you and knowing, hey, she's from Davenport and she's playing in the Big Ten? What advice would you give young girls and young basketball players around our area?
I would say just work hard. And once you make a goal, just keep going for that goal. Don't cut corners, and just have fun while doing it. That's really the most important thing, because yes, this is a business, but it is a game at the end of the day. So just have fun.
I love it. A few fun questions before we let you go. And I think I probably asked you some of these, but when you get back home, you talked about being family and all those kind of things. I know you said you're working hard. Do you let yourself like cheat when it comes to food and those kind of things? And if you do, back home, what's the cheat meal?
I'm kind of a snacker, and I have a really big sweet tooth.
Me too.
So yeah, like Cold Stone. There's actually a new flavor. I don't know if it's a flavor or what, but I saw it on TikTok. It's like banana pudding or something. So I'm definitely gonna try that when I go back home.
What is it about home too? I know your family, are close with them, all that kind of stuff. And you mentioned every time I say like, hey, what do you do for fun? Family gets involved with that, or that kind of thing. What is it about being back around those people that is good for you?
Yeah, I say family, and I kind of refer to my two close friends as that too. So just hanging out with them, literally whatever. We go to the movies or just hang out, and I just enjoy being around them and my grandparents and my parents. Like, it's just nice to kind of be around people who obviously I've been around them my whole life, and it's just like comfortability. So,
Journey, last one. If you weren't playing basketball, but you could play another sport in college, what are you playing?
I used to always say volleyball, but I'm starting to think like track. Like, I don't know. I just would want to be really good at track.
Okay, I like that. Do you golf?
Mm-mm.
I was gonna say
It's so boring to me.
you'd be surprised. So many high school athletes and they'll tell me they're like, I golf now. I'm not good at it, but I love
Yeah.
it. So, hey, hanging
Some
out
of my
outside,
teammates do.
not a bad thing. Hanging out outside, I'm telling you, it's not bad at all.
Mm-hmm.
Journey, I appreciate you always doing this. We are rooting for you, all those kind of things. Keep the cell going, and tell coach like, hey, don't forget, give me some kickback. If you're getting kids to come to the University of Iowa, that's a beautiful thing. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you, and we'll catch up again real soon. Thanks, Journey.
Of course. Thank you.
Awesome. That is Journey Huesman, sophomore to be. She's done being a freshman. And I'm telling you, people, like we talked about it through the year. Every time Kyle Huesmann comes on here and we talk about the 4 position, I'm telling you, I've watched it with my own eyes. She can do a lot more and she had a great year, but there's a lot left in that bag that she's going to show off over the next couple of years. We got more to get to. You're watching OTA right here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. We'll be right back. For over 65 years, Linquist Ford has proudly served the Quad Cities, and they're just getting started. Looking for a new ride? Check out a healthy mix of new and quality pre-owned vehicles ready for you. Need service? Skip the waiting room. With free pickup and delivery and mobile service, they come to you. No delays, no hassle. From routine maintenance to a full-service collision repair shop, it's fast, friendly, reliable, and always transparent. Linquist Ford, serving the Quad Cities since 1959. Experience the difference today.
Hey, I'm the Crawford guy.
Ooh, do you guys always speak at the same time?
Sorry, guys. I'll go first. If you need help with your heating or air conditioning,
or electrical,
or plumbing, Crawford Company can solve your problem.
But what about your problem?
What problem?
Do you not hear yourselves? Take it from me, the Crawford lady.
And me, the Crawford guy.
Crawford is the comfort company.
Welcome back to Off Day with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. Just wrapped up with Johnny Huesman. Want to thank her once again joining the show. I think if she's had to put up with me like 3 or 4 times, she does a great job every time she comes on. Coming off a fantastic freshman season, and loved her energy and excitement heading into next year for Iowa women's basketball. It's a busy time, a crazy time, and we kind of talked that she looked around and there weren't a lot of players to work out with or to play basketball with, and they're starting to fill things up. Iowa adding another transfer commitment yesterday, so of course we got to figure it all out with our good friend Kyle Huesmann from the Hawkeye Report. Kyle, first and foremost, thank you for doing. I feel bad. I was actually archiving some of my shows last night for the last couple months. I try to save them, clear out my computer a little bit. You are a frequent guest on Off Day with Matt Randazzo, and I love it. So thank you for always putting up with my text messages saying, hey, man, I need you. Busy time. We have another commitment to the University of Iowa for the women's basketball program. Tell us about Amari and the addition of the Oklahoma State transfer yesterday to Iowa City.
Yeah, and another pretty big addition. Obviously not quite the addition that Danny. And like I've said before, I don't think anything will be as big as the Danny Carnegie edition. But bringing in Amari Whiting was big because, again, we've talked about this at length. Starting the portal cycle, they had 2 guards on the roster. So we knew that there were going to be a number of players coming in. Carnegie was obviously the one that's going to come in and probably be kind of that plug-and-play starter. I think Amari Whiting could start as well, but I think she could also come off the bench. It's a big addition to me because of, if people look at my Twitter, they saw yesterday, Iowa now has 4 players with starting experience at the guard position. Chit-Chat Wright started every game that she was healthy for last year at Iowa. Started some games at Georgia Tech. Danny Carnegie started every game at Georgia last year. And then Taylor Stremlo started 20 games in her career now, started whatever the last 13, 12 of the season, whatever. And then you add in Amari Whiting, who has 97 career starts, played at BYU, played at Oklahoma State. And it's interesting to me because of someone like Amari Whiting in her position. She's getting ready for her final year of her college career, has 97 starts. I think there are certain transfers that would say, hey, I'm not going somewhere unless I can start because I've started every game in my career. This is about to be my last year. And we know that Jan Jensen, the staff, is not guaranteeing playing time for any of these players. So the fact that they were able to convince an Amari Whiting, again, she might come in and start. That might happen. We don't know how that's gonna play out. But when Amari commits, she understands that there are 3 players with starting experience, and 2 of them that started a full season already. Carnegie at Georgia and Chit-Chat at Iowa, and she still decided to join this team, knowing that there are players that can start ahead of her, and she might have a different role. So again, she could start, but I think it's pretty cool that Iowa was able to convince her with 97 career starts without saying, "Hey, you're going to start." That to join the team. That's huge because, like I said, they've got a lot of experience now, a lot of starting experience in that guard room. So I think just from an experience standpoint, getting her to come on board and having 4 players that have started now in your backcourt is pretty big. Had a couple of decent years at BYU. Those teams weren't that great. So I think some of it was her usage rate was probably a little bit higher than it needed to be. Maybe forcing some shots in some situations. Went to Oklahoma State this past year and was a starter, but her usage rate went down a little bit. Didn't have the ball in her hands quite as much, and her numbers improved. Had the best year of her career in terms of field goal efficiency, 3-point shooting. Her turnover rate went down just a little bit. And I think that was kind of good for her to get out of that role of, we're on a team that's, not that great. We're generally trailing in games, kind of, forcing up some things. And then playing on an Oklahoma State team that made the NCAA tournament, I think that helped her a lot. But she can do a number of things. Really good rebounder for a guard, and I think that's what they kind of needed. Again, Danny Carnegie was a good rebounder at Georgia. Iowa just didn't have a lot of guard rebounding last year. I think we talked about this when I joined to talk about Carnegie, that Taylor McCabe was the best rebounder statistically at the guard spot. And now they have 2 players. Amari Whiting averaged almost 6 rebounds a game last season. So that's big to kind of add some of that rebounding depth to the guard room. She can shoot the 3, generally more of like an open 3-point shooter. Was right around 30-32% this past season in Oklahoma State. But you watch her highlights, and a lot of it is knocking down open 3s. And again, when you have Chit-Chat, right, when you have Taylor Stremlo, when you have Danny Carnegie, and potentially there's still probably going to be another transfer that can contribute at the guard spot. Assuming they're going to be able to shoot the 3 as well, they're not going to need Amari to be someone to shoot a bunch of 3s in the game. It's just, hey, if you're open, which she's going to be at times with some of the other shooters around her, you got to knock down those 3s. And watching her highlights, she can do that. Can dribble drive, good passer as well. So I think an all-around, just kind of a good addition. Again, I think she's probably better to come off the bench, just kind of looking at how her numbers improved at Oklahoma State in a slightly smaller role. Again, she was still starting for Oklahoma State, but I think if they brought her off the bench and she was okay with that, I think that'd be really good for Iowa.
What kind of a comp do you have? What's the skill set like when Iowa fans look at her coming in? Is there a comp? Is there a skill set? Tell us about her game. What is she going to bring to the table for Iowa? Obviously, starting experiences there. What does her game look like?
Yeah, I'm not a real great player comp person, to be honest. It has to be really obvious for me to pick one out.
Sure.
I will say she's not necessarily a Kylie Fierbach in terms of a lockdown defender that's going to hold the other team's best guard to like 5 points or something like that. But she does a lot in terms of forcing turnovers. Has had 50 plus steals in all 3 seasons in college. So I think that's kind of another area. And we talked about that with Carnegie. Well, she forced some turnovers. I think that's good that maybe it's really hard to go into the portal and find players that, because you just have so little time to kind of evaluate a player's full game and get that kind of full look. And I think it's really hard to try to add a Kylie Fierbach type defender because you're not watching 3 hours of film on these players. So, how are they how are they when it's just defending and not getting steals and things like that? But they've added a couple players, and Whiting being one that can force some turnovers. So I think that'll be really helpful. I use the college basketball analytics website, and they don't, they're not breaking down film for these player comps. It's all, every statistic is kind of compared with everyone else in the country. And one that people might know is Paris Clark, the Virginia guard, on the team that beat Iowa there in the NCAA tournament. Had a great game against Iowa. That was kind of the first comp, just based on the exact, stats that they had. That was the best player comp. Saleh Poffenbarger from Maryland was another one that was a player comp. Poffenbarger's a few inches taller. I think she's 6'2". And Whiting is only 5'10", so there's a height difference there. But statistically, shooting, rebounding, assists, all that. Poffenbarger was a player comp. But I think she's going to come in, and like I said, she can kind of do a bit of everything. I don't think she's elite at anything, in particular, but can shoot the 3 ball. Like I said, really, really, when she's shooting open threes is where she's her best. She can dribble drive, she can assist, she can rebound really well. And again, I think the thing that some people might miss is I think that experience is going to be really helpful to have 97 career starts. She's the most experienced player on the roster now. She's no one else on the roster has that many starts. I mean, you look at Chit Chat, Danny Carnegie, and Taylor Stremlo, the other 3 guards on the roster, they don't even combined have 97 starts in their career. So I think the experience of having someone that's been around, at a couple of schools too, both in the Big 12, to have all that experience and kind of go through a lot of different things, I think that'll be really helpful to have. But yeah, I don't know if there's anything in particular I would say like she's elite at, but I think she's just really solid at a lot of things and a really good player to have, whether she's coming off the bench or in the starting lineup.
And I believe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like probably balances out some classes because she'll be in a senior class probably by herself right now, or is Carnegie a senior year as well?
No, she's only going to be a junior with Chit Chat.
So yeah, like I believe, not that it's a full roster yet, but I believe she'd probably be the only senior. What's next? I know people like, and they're getting when you look at men's basketball and they're still cranky, wanting more and all that kind of stuff and wanting something. Iowa's landed 2 already. I know the McCowan girl still out there from Western Illinois. She hasn't made a decision. And they have room still. Like we just heard Jordan Houston say, I think there's 8 now on campus. She didn't want me to come play basketball with them, which was sad. But what's next? Because now you have still holes to fill, but I think you've knocked off some of the main needs, if it will be, for what they wanted to get at. What's next for the University of Iowa women's basketball program?
Yeah, certainly they checked off the box of getting that plug-and-play guard. And like I said, I've said it several times already that I think Danny Carnegie is, when this portal class is done, is going to be the best player. And Amari Whiting, I think, was huge in a different sense. I think, obviously not maybe the level of a Danny Carnegie, but big in terms of what I said with just getting someone that has all that starting experience and getting them to join a roster that already has starters on it. Like I said, I think there are transfers across the country that would look at Iowa and they'd say, hey, am I going to start here? And it's like, well, we don't guarantee playing time. They go, well, I've got 97 career starts. I don't know that I want to come here. So I think it's big that they were able to convince her that Iowa was the right place for her. And I think that says a lot about Amari Whiting, that she's willing to do that and join a place where it is not, for sure that she's going to start. In terms of what they need to do yet, the spot that jumps to the top of the list now, because they've got Whiting, they've got one player to come off the bench at the guard spot. The next spot that becomes the most important to me right now is that power forward position, which again has been really intriguing, and I've mentioned it before, just not really understanding where the coaching staff is going to go, just because it's so hard with someone like McKenna Velichko coming in. You don't know what her production level is going to be, what kind of impact she's going to make as a true freshman. We know her ceiling. We know what, I guess we shouldn't say we know her ceiling. We know the type of player that she can be. And we know her talent level. We just don't know what that's going to look like right away as a true freshman. And it's hard to convince. It's going to be hard to convince a younger power forward to say, "Hey, do you want to come play at a school where we have a 5-star that's going to be here for 4 years? That best case scenario is going to be starting and be an all Big Ten player, maybe a sophomore." Can you convince a 1-year player to come in and say, "Hey, you might not start if McKenna comes in and is a very impactful right away?" So it's kind of hard with the player that they have coming in at that spot. So I'm really interested to see what they add there. I still think they need to add someone there, just because Journey Houston is kind of would be the backup right now, and I think she did a very admirable job last year. I think she did great and held her own in the minutes that she played the 4. But I don't know that if McKenna comes in and plays 20, 22 minutes a game, which would be a solid load of minutes considering you look at Addie Dio played 15 a game, and Journey Houston was just on it. I think she was like 14 and a half minutes per game. So if McKenna came in and played 20 to 22 minutes, that'd be a good load of minutes. But you'd still need someone to play 18 to 20 minutes as a backup at the 4. And I don't know that Journey Houston, as a little bit of an undersized 4, I don't know that you would want to roll the dice with her for that many minutes in a game. So again, I think she can play the 4. I think she's more of a 3. I still think that they need someone that can play the 4 for extended minutes if McKenna were to get in foul trouble, or maybe she has stretches where she's just not quite going at the level that she that they know she can be, and that's going to be the ups and downs of a freshman season. So I think that becomes the new biggest spot to get. And then obviously another contributor at the guard spot again. I don't know where in there. I think they need to add someone. You mentioned Reagan McCowan. She's kind of the one at the top of the list right now that if someone's going to commit, it would probably be her. And Kenzie Hare is still available out there. Sounds like she's taking a visit to Indiana here soon, has taken a couple other visits, Iowa being one of them. It's starting to wonder if a Kenzie Hare would want to join in Iowa with 4 other guards right now that, again, with all starting experience, Kenzie Hare would have starting experience as well. That would be pretty incredible if they were able to pull that off and have 5 starters in the backcourt. I don't think that I don't even know if that's possible in the transfer portal era these days. But that's kind of the other spot, is power forward, finding someone that could start, potentially not start. At least be a reliable contributor if you can find someone that wants to come join in that spot, and then another contributor at guard, and then of course the depth part of it. Find 1 or 2 more, probably 2 more players that can get you up 12 players on the roster. But right now I'd say that forward position and just trying to maybe gauge what can you get at that spot is kind of the biggest thing right now.
It's funny you mentioned, and because obviously Journey was just talking about it, she played out of position, and she's excited to see, and she said nothing's written in stone, I think is kind of almost what she said, but I think the plan in her mind is to play the 3 and play a different position. She can do the 4 if needed, but her bag, she's got a deep, she can shoot it, she can do the things I don't think people saw her do. We just talked about it last segment, so if you missed the Journey Houston interview, go check it out. But it is intriguing to look at because and now you're trying to sell people on, like you just said, does a Reagan McCowan want to come to the University of Iowa with 2 years of eligibility and 4 other guards there that are really good? Same thing with Hare. So I think that's kind of interesting. One thing that Journey talked about, Kyle, was, and you'd mentioned it, I think last time you were on the show, they all run together right now, but was the different offense, because it was different this year. And Journey flat out said, we're going to get back to a 1 in, 4 out, or 4 out, 1 in offense. When you hear that, and it's nothing surprising, I think, to you, but when you hear that, how does that look? Does that help Velichko coming in? Is that more comfortable for her? The parts seem better for that this year than it was obviously last year with Hannah and Ava being on the floor at the same time.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the big thing is, everybody loves Hannah Stolke. I thought Hannah Stolke was a great player in her time at Iowa. I think at times she caught a little bit more flack than she deserved. I mean, she was still a 3-time second team All Big Ten player, 2-time whatever it was, 6th player of the year as a true freshman. So I think at times people were a little hard on her. But last year they had to change the offense because she couldn't shoot the mid-range jumper. She couldn't, she wouldn't even attempt a three past the first couple of games of the season. Now, whether she was told not to do that, whatever. But they had to change the offense because she wasn't able to stretch the floor. And she did what she needed to do in that role very well. But now bringing McKenna Velichko in that can shoot the mid-range jumper, that is able to dribble drive, from the wing. Not really a three-point shooter. She'll shoot them, but again, not really her game. But she stretches the floor enough with her mid-range game, with her ability to dribble drive from the mid-range or from the perimeter, that they are able to go to that 4-out 1-in offense. And again, I'm assuming they're gonna try to find a forward that can shoot the mid-range, potentially shoot the three. I think that'd be great if they could find a four that can shoot the three and really stretch the floor even more when they're in the game, because all that helps when Ava Hayden is in there, rather than, the high-low worked, but at times, there was a little bit too much traffic in the paint. And I think, having a forward that can shoot the mid-range, they don't even necessarily have to shoot it, but if they have the ball in that mid-range area or out on the perimeter because they can play out there, that means that Ava Hayden's the only one down there in the post. So I think it helps open up the offense a little bit. And I think it'll help as well that you have Danny Carnegie, who's someone that can dribble drive and get into the paint. And I think Amari Whiting is someone that can do that as well. So that'll help to have kind of an extra dimension there that I think Iowa lacked at times last season. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that transfer at the forward position. Can they shoot the three, or is it kind of more of a Velichko where it's more mid-range, but enough that you can stretch the floor? But yeah, they're gonna change the offense up. And I said this very early when we started talking about the portal that, obviously it's not, you don't look at a 6-player roster and think, oh, great, this is fun that we only have 6 players. But it allowed the coaching staff to go out and build the roster the exact way that they wanted to do it, to run whatever offense they wanted to run, and that's the 4-out 1-in. So it'll be interesting to see how they fill this roster out, and what pieces they add. Again, as you said, the couple of players that they're looking at right now are players with starting experience. So can they convince them to join a backcourt that's I don't know if you want to call McCowan a backcourt player or whatever. She's that kind of that small forward guard. I just kind of throw them all into the guard grouping. I think maybe, again, I don't want to speak for her, but I think generally those mid-major players, we saw it with Molly Davis, they're maybe a little bit more okay with joining a roster with starting experience like that, just because they're going from a Western Illinois to an Iowa, or from where Molly Davis is at Central Michigan, from Central Michigan to an Iowa, and that's a big leap for them. So maybe McCowan's a little bit more open to joining a backcourt than a Kenzie Hare would be. I don't know. Maybe Kenzie Hare is still looking at Iowa and potentially going to come to Iowa. But it'll be interesting to see if either of them want to come to Iowa. And if they do, either Hare or McCowan, I think it would be huge to fill out that backcourt, because you're looking at 5 really good contributors at that point. But yeah, I certainly believe they're going to change the offense. And I've said it before. I think, Jan Jensen's staff did a really good job early in the season noticing that, Hannah Stokey's just not going to be able to shoot the mid-range effectively. She's not going to shoot the three. We need to change something up to be able to be successful. And they went to the high-low, and it worked, as well as it was going to. They win 27 games. If it, wasn't for a few extra missed threes that they hadn't missed most of the season, a couple of missed free throws, they would have made it to the Sweet 16. So I think they did a really good job of adapting to the personnel that they had. But I certainly think that moving to the 4-out 1-in offense will make them better offensively.
Kyle Huesmann from the Hawkeye Report joining us on Off There with Matt Randazzo. And I'm fascinated, Kyle, when it comes to the flexibility that Coach Jensen now has, because you look at it and you mentioned you throw them all. I mean, if you throw a Journey into that 3-1, I mean, you have Taylor Stremolo and Journey Houston and Chit Chat and the 2 transfers right now, probably add one more in one way, shape, or form. There's a lot of flexibility to be had at the University of Iowa. I want to talk to you about quickly one young lady who left, has a new home. Addie Deal stays in the Big Ten, stays in the Midwest, and goes up to Wisconsin. Your thoughts on where she landed? Was it surprising? Was it kind of what you expected? There's some thought process of family moved into the Midwest. She might stay here in the Midwest. Just your thoughts on Addie Deal to Wisconsin yesterday.
Yeah, it's an interesting move. I don't know that I fully kind of thought my full opinion on it. The first kind of gut reaction I had is, okay, she really values playing time, which is fine. If that's what you want to do, if you want to go start and play, 30 minutes a game, which, again, I don't know what she's going to play at Wisconsin. She's going to start, in my opinion. She will start. She'll play a ton of minutes for them. Again, they're still working on the portal, so is she going to be their go-to player? Who knows? But I think that move signals that she really wants to play and be a starter somewhere. And, I think that's okay. I think there's players that, I mentioned Molly Davis. Molly Davis is a player that played a ton and was the go-to scorer at Central Michigan. She decided, I want to go win. I want to go play for a Power 4 school, whether that means I come off the bench for 10 minutes or, start or whatever. And that's just, certain players have different things that they want to do with their college career. And at this point, Addie Dio wants to go play. And I think that's very fair. And, I think we could see her take a similar path to players we see in football, and basketball, where maybe she goes to Wisconsin, she has a great year, averages 15 points a game, and then someone who is going to win. Not to say, Wisconsin could be a fine team. They made the WBIT semifinals. They had a good year. I don't think they're going to be an NCAA tournament team. But if she goes and averages 15 points a game for Wisconsin, has a great year, someone that is going to win, her junior season will want to pick her up. And I think that's kind of the next step for her is, didn't have the year she wanted at Iowa, go play somewhere and put up points, show what you can do, and then maybe come and join someone that's going to try to make a Sweet 16 or something like that. So it's interesting because, just looking at how I was when I played sports, and I never played D1 sports, obviously. But I was always someone that hey, if I'm, not playing, I am playing, I still want to win. So I don't know. It's an interesting spot to go somewhere where, they haven't, in terms of comparing with Iowa, they haven't beat Iowa since, 2007, 2006 or something like that. They haven't made the NCAA tournament since 2010. I don't know if that number is correct or not, but it's been a while. So it's clear to me that she wants to play. And again, I think that's perfectly fine. If she went, it's the same thing with the Callie Levine. There were people that were surprised. She wants to go play basketball. She wants to go be, potentially be a starter at Northern Iowa. And I think that's fine. So we'll see what happens with Addie Dio. It's funny though that the two transfers that have picked new locations, Levine's going to play Iowa in conference play, and Addie will play Iowa at least once during the regular season. We've seen Iowa meet Wisconsin in the Big Ten tournament as well. So it'll be interesting to see what those first matchups look like.
I'm excited for some games for Iowa on their schedule because you just mentioned, Wisconsin and Iowa should have a little different flavor to it now. We talked with Journey Houston with Divine Burge at Illinois. That's going to be a fun matchup, and two North standouts and Quad Cityans going head to head probably know each other pretty well. So it'll be fun to watch those as well. Before I let you go, last one, a little Iowa men's basketball dabbling. Tavion Banks announcing yesterday if he can come back, if he gets that extra year, he wants to come back to Iowa, but he's going to be in the portal. The way I look at that, we kind of talked about it earlier in the show, is that, if he does get that decision, we don't know when it's going to be, there might not be room with the way things go. So you almost have to get in the portal to protect yourself with that. Obviously he declared for the NBA draft, but he's out of eligibility. Your thoughts on there's a lot of different things moving with the men's basketball program, but when you saw Tavion Banks and the possibility of coming back to the University of Iowa, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts with that situation just because, obviously, and I'm sure this was a lengthy conversation between McCollum and Banks, and I'm sure that both sides understood exactly what was going on, that, Ben's going to say, might say, we love to have you back, and that would be great to have you back on this team next year. But Ben's also going to say, listen, we don't control how the NCAA does this, whatever the decision is going to be. We don't control how quickly that happens.
And if it's the NCAA, they're not going to. It's going to be bad for Iowa if the NCAA is involved. We know that track record. Go ahead.
So yeah, Ben's going to say, hey, we've got to go try to fill out our roster, and if that means you get your decision, and it's hey, you have another year, but we filled our roster. Unfortunately, that's just kind of how it goes. And I think Tavion would completely understand that that's kind of how it goes, but he's hoping that if he gets another year of eligibility, it's going to be sooner rather than later, so that Iowa can bring him back into the fold. So it's kind of similar to the Momcilovic thing over at Iowa State, right? Where he's like, I want to go play in the NBA. That's my plan, is to get drafted. But if he goes through the process and scouts are telling him you're not going to get drafted as high as you want, Iowa State's already added players, so he's not going back to Iowa State. But he's got to get in the portal just because hey, if I don't hear what I want from the NBA. I've got to go back to college probably if that's going to be my decision. He's got to enter the portal. And the same with Tavion, he enters the draft to kind of go through that process and hear from scouts maybe what his outlook is from the NBA. And then if he gets another year of eligibility, he's got to be in the portal because, he's got to find a team, whether it's Iowa or somebody else. So the whole situation, I think, some people might look at it, and I'm sure Iowa State fans looked at the Milan thing and were confused and maybe a little upset, why is he leaving? But I think once you kind of dive into the whole situation, how it's going to play. I think the way that Tavion's handling it is, in the way that I'm sure Ben McCollum handling it, is the perfect way to do it. Like, yeah, we'd love to have you back, but if the NCAA drags their feet and you don't get your decision for 2 months from now, like, yeah, we can't wait around for 2 months and just leave a spot open to see if you become eligible, because if all of a sudden you're not eligible, we just got an open spot that we would like to fill. So I understand it. It'll be interesting to see how quickly that decision comes, what that decision is, and what happens past that.
It's different, and it'll be interesting to see how it evolves, because you go back to like Peyton Sanford testing the waters and then coming back, and Fran just trusted it, I guess, and Wieskamp kind of the same way. Joe went, and he was real. I think people don't realize how much closer he was to almost getting a two-way offer and not coming back. But today's day and age, with the transfer portal the way it is, it used to be players could go do that and test the draft process, knowing they had a place to go back to. And now you're seeing more coaches nowadays saying, hey, I need to know, because we're putting roster construction is right now, and we can't wait till, May or later to find out what you're going to end up doing. So it's fascinating stuff. The Hawkeye Report is where everything is at. Iowa will add probably 3 or 4 more players, which means Kyle Huesmann will be on at least 3 or 4 more times in the next couple weeks. So I always appreciate it. Enjoy. Where's baseball this weekend?
They're at home. They've got Maryland Friday, they say. I'm not convinced. No. We'll see what happens. We were supposed to know yesterday if the games were going to get moved up, or the game on Friday was going to get moved up. There was no announcement, so I don't think they can change it now, because Maryland leaves today, and based on the rules of the Big Ten and everything, they were supposed to come to a decision yesterday. So I don't know if Maryland said no. It sounded like the Iowa coaching staff really wanted to move it up. I'm less than convinced that they're going to play on Friday. I think we're probably heading towards maybe a Saturday doubleheader. But I also didn't think they were going to play on Tuesday, and we had a quick hailstorm come through, and then they played baseball. So we'll see what happens on Friday night. But it's Maryland at home this weekend.
Our good friend Don Umland was the second base.
Yeah, he was there. Yeah, I saw him on the list.
He texted me and called me, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Waiting out a rain delay." I'm just like, I'm glad I'm his entertainment for that. He got back, I think he said 11:30 at night. Or in the morning, or at night, I guess. It wasn't too bad. But I love James O'Hara. I love my weatherman friends and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes they don't get it right. Like, we'll just leave it like that. But sometimes it's a hard thing to do.
It was supposed to storm. They got it right. It was supposed to storm.
Yeah, but like some of these nights, you never know. Like some of these nights, it's going to be the end of the world. Last night was pretty funky around my house. I will tell you this. So I'm just saying it's not all. This is hard. It's hard to do this time of year. So anyways, Kyle, get out of here. We'll catch up. I know I'll be bugging you soon. So thanks, buddy.
Thanks for having me on.
All right. That is Kyle Huesmann here on Off There with Matt Randazzo. His second appearance this week. And if they get a commit tonight, I'll have him back on here tomorrow. I don't care. I'll do it. So we got more to get to. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk some more college basketball transfer things and everything else going on in the world of sports. We're just going to do a little sports radio with my good friend Johnny Marx, and he'll join us right after this on Off the Air. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak, with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. So much going on in the world of sports. The draft's coming up here real soon. Major League Baseball, high school sports is as busy as ever. The Drake Relays are coming up next week, so our attention will go to the track as well. If you missed it, we had Mike J on last week, the voice of the Drake Relays and heck, track in the state of Iowa. So go listen to that. Get yourself set for Drake. Also, we had Blake Bolden, the director of the Drake Relays, on. So go check those things out. But so many things going on, and it's been a good run for us. We've been busy with interviews this day and that day, and Cooper Catch and Logan Lee and everything in between. Ever so often, I just need to take a breath, catch up, and talk sports. And when I do that, I usually pick up my phone and annoy Johnny Marx, but I'm gonna make him talk about it on the show to chat a little bit. Johnny, how are you, my friend?
I'm wonderful, Matty. Thank you for taking the time. It's great talking to you. Always.
It's so many things. I kind of write down, like, you and anger are very similar, and I mean that in a nice way, so don't get mad at me. Because I never plan it out, you know. And
don't do that to
I'm not a big, like, I don't know how you do it when you're interviewing. I don't write down questions. I'm not that type of guy. And this is way off track, but you know who taught me not to? Chris Miner. And you remember back in that corner, the sports corner, I remember I was doing my first Sunday show interview, filling in for Dan Burrich. And I said, because I know she's right there and she's the GOAT. I'm like, hey, Chris, do you have any advice? Like, you know, when it comes, and I had my old questions written down on the pad, and she's like, don't write down questions. She's like, if you're thinking about what you're going to read for your next question, you're not listening to the interview. And sometimes they're going to give the best answer to something that's going to make you trigger a question, or the best question might be, why is that? And then you can continue to go. So Christy's the one that taught me that. But it's one of those things where I don't write down an agenda with you, because we'll just talk and probably make people mad and then go on other ways.
But that's a normal conversation you and I have anytime is we're angering somebody. But sage advice by Chrissy. Matt, you know what it's like. You've been doing it, 40 years for me and 30 for you. You're just asking and it goes, and you follow the flow of the all you're doing is having a conversation with someone.
Yeah.
And follow the flow of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to talk a little Illinois basketball with you. We talked about it at the start of the show. I mean, it's a really good basketball team, and they had a great run this year, and they're adding two, and who knows if John Blackwell joins the fun. He's one of the top guys. Ked Prince was on here a couple days ago saying, yeah, he thinks Ked sometimes is a little optimistic when it comes to his Illini.
Of course he is.
He thinks that that's a very good possibility of that happening. But for me, I guess first and foremost, your thoughts on Illinois, what Brad Underwood's doing. They get 4 of those 5 guys that they want to keep back. Stojakovic is still out there. I'm not saying he's not coming back. He probably is. But to get those guys back and to add what they're adding, Brad's doing it at a really high level right now.
Yeah, to get the Ivisic, I always mess it up. The two Ivisic brothers coming back is phenomenal. And, you got to pay. I understand that, but and I'm like Ked, if John Blackwell comes, that makes them a legitimate contender to Michigan when it comes to the Big Ten championship. But as optimistic as Ked is, he thinks Steph Curry's going to go back and get this last year of college eligibility, and he's going to Illinois. So that's the way he lives his life. You've got 4 guys. I think Jake Davis is the glue to it all, Matt. And I can't believe he started his career. Why? And it's not where you start; it's where you finish. Who missed on him and no knock against Mercer, but I think somebody missed on him. He's that glue guy. He can shoot it. We know he runs the floor. I think he's as big as a name as they all coming back. And then Digivox coming from Providence. And again, it's paying better. Who knew Wisconsin could not meet the financial needs of John Blackwell, and Illinois' pockets are a little deeper. But, we know Keaton Walker is going to be a great NBA player. Maybe not next year, but down that road. Again, 41.7% of your offensive scoring is coming back. What college team?
That goes up 10 to 15% if Stojakovic comes back as well, which I think he's probably gonna.
What a great slasher too. I mean, he can defend, and it's just the NBA bloodlines are true there. So, and the European guy that can take the ball to the rack. So again, and let's go back to Brad Underwood for just a second. Maddie, one of the neatest things I saw in the NCAA tournament was Brad Underwood, and I don't know if it was Dodge City or the JUCO he was in Florida. Him with a team photo of all his guys in their warm-ups in this around his station wagon. It wasn't a school station wagon because they couldn't afford it, but that's how they would get to. And to be 15 years as an assistant at Illinois or at Western, my goodness, he paid his dues. Yeah. And great coach, earned the opportunity, but I think guys just want to play for him, Matt.
Yeah, it's weird because you look at the success they're having and you would think like, wow, they're just spending there's some schools that are just like, I'm going to go spend and I'm going to like Louisville right now is going to fix it by throwing Kentucky. Exactly. And that's not they've found a really nice mix of like, yes, they have the resources, which is huge in today's college basketball. You need them, but they're developing players as well. You mentioned Jake Davis, Ben Hummerkaus was the same way. Those guys came in as transfers and kind of under the radar. And I would go back 12 months ago, probably people wanted both of them gone. Hummerkaus didn't play well when he got there. Jake Davis didn't make a splash, but here you are. And I would almost say, and I don't know if this is true, but maybe the only reason why Stojakovic hasn't said him come back yet is he wasn't starting. The reason we wasn't starting because Jake Davis was such an integral part of what they did and making corner threes and all those kind of things as well. So I think it's a beautiful thing of what they're doing because they're financially stable and they can play the game and you have to be able to do that, but they're developing players as well. They're developing those guys that come in, they're taking some, and they've done that with the high school recruits that are coming in too. The kid from Iowa, there's some people that are like, he's going to get lost in the mix and be gone, but you don't know that. And some would have said the same about Keaton Wagler last year, and he's getting ready to play in the NBA. Here's the weird thing, and I'll say this will get pushed back. Illinois fans won't like me, and it's not just an Illinois thing. But it is still a little weird for me, and you're an older man like myself, so you're old school probably. But like I read some interview or watched some interview where Merkovic was like, hey, I knew after the season, after the Final Four, I went to my agent and I said, I want to come back here. And like just listening to that. So we're to the point where the European pro goes to his agent after the Final Four and says, hey, I'd love to play here again. That if you told me that 5 years ago, Johnny, what world are we talking about? I don't love that. That's still weird to me. It's the way the game is. I'm not blaming Illinois. It's the same way all over the place. Isn't that still weird?
Absolutely. As my son doesn't have an agent. I understand. I mean,
he did. His name was Uncle Matt.
Uncle Matt. Yeah. Well, he actually did have, but that's neither here nor there. He just decides that there's a different way to go. But you have to be right. You have to have representation. Thank you, Uncle Matt. You have to have representation in today's world, or no one's going to pick up the phone. It used to be you picked up the phone and you went to the house and dealt with mom and dad.
Yeah.
And now there's a third party. Can you imagine the people making extra money in this world that call themselves agents? It's at the college football
level.
And
they're making a stupid percentage is what I've heard. I've heard they're making a ridiculous percentage on what they're making on these kids, which is the scary part about this whole thing.
Take that a step further. Sit Pat Anger down, a great player, and ask him what his agent, what he made his decision because of percentages. What was it, 3%? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Ask him what his agent got or Logan, his agent, what they got the first time through, and then before second or third contracts. And they'll tell you that it's nowhere near the money that agents are getting today. And it might be 10, 12, it may be more, up to 18%. It's crazy. But the money that young people are getting to play college basketball, college football is crazy as well.
Yeah, it's just different. It's weird. And also the fact that, like, again, the beginning of that sentence is the European pro. Like, it's a European
Absolutely.
that's played pro basketball that, with all that being said, and you mentioned, like, Illinois being in there to compete with Michigan for a Big Ten championship.
Yep.
Johnny, I don't know if they're probably a top 10 for sure team right now.
Easily.
In the country. And if you add Blackwell, I don't know if they're not they might be a 1, 2, or 3 ranked team in the country next year as the season gets going.
And I still think that the incoming freshman, was it Quentin Coleman?
Yeah.
I think, wow, gifted. He's one of those guys that might be able to play right away. And it's no longer those days, Matt, but you got to remember, kids are playing. If you're a basketball exclusive, you play your high school season, and then you're playing 100, 120 AAU basketball games, preparing you to go to the next level. So it's no longer you're just that freshman. There's a learning curve for some, but not for everybody. So will they be a top 10 team? Yeah, they'll probably be. I believe if you get one more, if Blackwell comes, top 5 when it comes to your season. It depends. And plus, you have to be careful. This is the one thing that happens, and you mentioned European pros. Who's ever getting the biggest salary, somebody's not getting the biggest salary. That's not what you're doing. You're not dealing with playing time. You're dealing with checks nowadays at the college level. And it all goes hand in hand. Money in the pocket first, and then you're talking about if one other guy gets $100,000 more than you're getting your 1.3 million, Merkovic, et cetera. Talk to me. Everybody gets hurt, egos get bruised, and everybody gets upset that they're not getting. That's half the problem in Kentucky is you guys making too much money.
Yeah, no, absolutely. John Marx joining us on Off There with Matt Randazzo. I'm going to a different topic, and I don't even know if we talked about this ahead of time or even like a possibility, but some news out of Geneseo. TJ Lacey, after doing a great job her first year, is leaving Geneseo. So Geneseo's looking for a basketball coach. Pleasant Valley's looking for a basketball coach. We had Steve Huesman on last week, and I can't say enough nice things about Steve Huesman and the guy that he is. And TJ Lacey was great. And then you look around quickly, and I know Bettendorf's got another girls opening where I'm going to call her Jen Youngblood, and I shouldn't because that's her maiden name. But Jen Shea stepped down there. I'm going to call her Caitlin McNamara at Moline, but it's she's married as well too. So I apologize to Caitlin, but there's open, and I believe that this stuff from college has trickled down to high school, and I'm not saying that in a negative way, but like I know that I mean, Steve Huesman was on here and he flat out said like the transfers and the transfer portal, if you will, in the high school level makes it more demanding, more difficult, tougher on the high school level as well. I don't know what my question is right now, but like there's some openings on the high school level. We just got done talking about how the college level has changed. I guess my question is how much has the high school level changed when it comes to the transfers / coaches / all those kind of things as well.
You and I are headed for some trouble here, and I know because I'm going to speak
That's
first.
I said it to you.
Yeah, I know, and please. You and I have sat through transfers at the college level, and you have good and bad for you and I. Mommies and daddies are ruining it all. If I'll go to my shooting coach, I'll go to my hitting coach, my pitching coach, and if I'm giving them $65 an hour, they're going to tell me my son or daughter, whomever, is really, really good and should be getting X amount of minutes. We all know how that works. Again, parents believe that. How do you fire the Clear Lake basketball coach after winning 80% of his basketball games all these years? Come on. One parent is all you need to start the ball rolling. That's why it's not the way it used to be, Matt, where they trusted you with your children and you were teaching them how to be a team teammate. Now it's all about me, and we're all guilty of it, and you want what's best for your child, and but you are not at those parents that are starting this and making it difficult on the coaches aren't at practice. They don't deal with it. They don't know that goes on every day. Now, to that, there are some things that the coaches have flaws, a lot of them, and guilty. Egos are beyond out of control and need to be tempered. But the AAU, the travel ball situation, the privatizing of coaching has thrown things out of whack. And as you said, the transfer portal, guilty. Illinois didn't have football, and we got in the car and we moved to Coralville, kept our house here, and my son won a state championship.
Too. That was COVID too. I mean, that was
I know, but that's a stupid governor.
But and I will say this too, though. Like, and I got to be careful, but like we now it becomes news, and it's not news, and it's still not news. Here's my if let's say when Owen Freeman transferred from where he was going, Bradley Bourbonnais to Moline, that's newsworthy because he's a top prospect in the state of Illinois. He's a Iowa commit here in the Quad Cities, and he's going to a school like Moline and that's something that I believe we probably reported on the news. I don't even know if we did, Johnny. I'll be honest, I don't even know if we did, and that's 5 years ago, 4 years ago. That's not that long ago. And now, like, because of social media, because of other things that goes on, it just if a kid transfers from North Scott to Bettendorf or from Rocky to Moline or to like, it's not newsworthy every time we do it.
Absolutely not.
And when we do it, like, that just makes it feeds into everything that goes on with it. It's different. I don't mind it. Whatever. Social media is social media. But like, again, maybe I'm old school. You got to be able to, and then when you start doing that, you have to start doing it for everything. I had, I always have, this isn't anything new, but like for years I've had junior high coaches call me, junior high parents, 11U, 12U baseball teams that won whatever, little league, state, whatever. And they're all great. Trust me. They're all great. I get caught up into it. My kids win a tournament. I think it's awesome. They do great things, all those kind of things. But like, you can't report on all of it because we have enough trouble in local media and even this stuff of being able to cover the high schools correctly. And now it's trickled down to like, hey, my 7th grader did this and they want, or baseball wise. So it just, and again, what does that all feed from? Parents. And like, and seeing their kids want to have the best and all those kind of things. I don't even know where I was going with this conversation because it feels like it's harder to coach now than ever before when it comes to, you can just do whatever you want. It used to be like, I go back, you were on here with Coach Schulte right after Father Barabelli passed away. And like, if old school wise, if you didn't like, you weren't doing something or you weren't doing things correctly, or you wanted to go play with your buddies or whatever, it just makes it. And I think you look at high school and they're just looking at what's happening in college and it's just all trickling down. So again, it's like, and Geneseo, for Geneseo's case, I have no idea what's going on. I know TJ Lacey was great, did a great job there at Geneseo. Whoever goes in there, they're going to have a good situation, like a decent. He left it better than when he got it, for sure.
Yep.
But there's way more turnover in coaching than there ever has been. And I think it's probably a little bit of a result of, it's just hard nowadays. It's much more different than what it used to be like.
There's not a lot of money in coaching. We know that. And that's not why you do it. But to take that kind of abuse of BS from mommies and daddies, that's the biggest problem right there. And you just get frustrated and you get tired of it. And Coach Huesman, we'll use him as an example, been doing it for a long time. Time to take a deep breath and enjoy your family. The golf courses are open. That it's finally, there's some fun to be had.
Yeah.
There's country clubs. There's dinner with your wife, actually on a Tuesday or a Thursday night, which is a really wonderful thing. Seeing family, actually getting to see your children, is a wonderful thing that you didn't get to do. And I know you chose that profession.
Is it? Like, because I'm rethinking things. I see my kids too much nowadays. I want them to go away. No, I'm just kidding. But and Johnny, it's also not. It's not just mommies and daddies too, because it's also like you used to, as a coach, maybe look and say like, okay, here's what I have coming, and these are the players I'm going to develop and get better and do those kind of things. And then all of a sudden you find out in the middle of the summer via social media that 3 kids that you thought were going to play basketball with you or whatever are going across town with an area code and all this kind of stuff. It just makes it like, and I'll say this too, I think some of the best teams I ever covered where you knew those parents and those kids were together since they were this big, and now they were doing it together at that level, and it makes it more. And I will say this, forget state championships, I think winning in general is more fun when that kind of stuff happens. Before I let you go, one last thing. NFL draft is next week. We don't have any local players I think in it. I think Iowa's going to do really well when it comes to the amount of players they have in it. We had Logan Lee on the show last Friday, one of the best people you're ever going to meet. Is the NFL draft, what are you most interested about when the NFL draft hits next week? Is it former Iowa players? It's what your Bears do. There's no local interest, I don't think. Your thoughts as the draft, it snuck up on me, Johnny. It's a week away.
Where Jennings Dunker goes, because of the Lena Winslow thing and the small town guy and being that it's just a different different cat who's I think will be really, really good inside. And I think he's an NFL guard. That's just because he has a personality and you like the mullet and the ginger, and that's cool. I hope Caden Proctor doesn't go in the first round, but I'm afraid that the 49ers, somebody at 27, 28 will take him.
I'm afraid my Lions are going to take him.
Well, I think you should take, Fano from Utah. You want a lineman? There's a lineman to take. I think the Bears take Cassius Howell is out of Texas A&M to fill that need. Your Lions, you need more than one offensive lineman, but I'd start right there. And does Caden Proctor have great feet? Yes. I still think he isn't ready to be that guy every day. So that's just me.
The inconsistency, Johnny, worries the heck out of me.
Yep. So is there there's really that's other and I can't think of anybody that I want because are there quarterbacks out there? Is Simpson the guy that everybody trades down for? We know Mendoza's the number 1 pick, but is Ty Simpson really the next best quarterback at that in college football? I think Altmaier is a pretty good quarterback, and he'll find himself in the second or third or fourth round.
Johnny, those type of stories have me intrigued. Mark Gronowski, I think he gets drafted.
Absolutely.
Luke Altmaier, I think, finds his way onto a team somehow, some way. Gabe Yakis from Illinois. I think he's a guy that you're going to get in the second round. Somebody's going to get and really like that guy for 8 to 10 years on the end of your defensive line. I think he's going to be really good. It's a different beast now when it comes to that. I was, as we talked about before, I was up in Iowa City on Tuesday to watch practice and seeing how things go up there and how it's almost hard, Johnny. I'm going to leave it like this. It's hard to coach. I coach too many youth sports probably. And I watch Pat and I even joked about it. And he's like, man, being up here and watching the way it goes, it's like it's hard to go coach because like any incompetence you have with your kids, everything is so detail oriented, so on time, so well structured, and it's no surprise he's going to have 8 or 9 guys drafted in the NFL draft. Like he just does it at a different level.
I want to watch Weejan return kicks at that level. And is he a draftable guy, or is he that most sought after free agent guy? He can do so many things. That's one of my favorite Iowa guys anyway. So it's a crapshoot. It's fun. We make a big deal out of it. And I'm just all these years really, really tired of Mel Kiper. So I don't care who. Pick me anybody. He's got to cut his hair.
We make a rule. I don't know if we'll do it. Last year I was over at a draft party. I don't know if we're gonna do a draft party this year or not. We got to figure that out. It's coming fast, but we've made rules where like get these phones away from us because it is fun. Like when you were growing up, you're watching and you hear the dun 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 like little music and you wait for it. And nowadays, every beat writer has this person. One, so enjoy it. Have fun with it. People were offended by anything John Marx says. Your email is what, Johnny? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
That's okay.
It won't be the first.
It won't be the first time, and it won't be the last. But again, to answer your question, yeah, part of the problem with coaching is mom and dads and burnout, and you just want to have a real life.
Yeah, no, we both know that very, very well. Hey, appreciate you, young man. We'll catch up again real soon.
Thank you, my brother. Love you.
All right, that is John Marx. Talking a little sports, doing a little sports radio. I always said to people when I started this thing, one of the best parts is just doing sports radio and talking sports. And Johnny is a fantastic person for me to do that with as well. So it's been a great show. If you missed some of it, Journey Houston was on in the first segment. We had Kyle Huesmann talking that, John Marx talking Illinois and everything else. We got more to get to. It's a Thursday right here in the Quad Cities. We'll be right back.
Give me the keys. Learning to drive can be stressful. For both the student and, yes, the parent as well. Relax. There's an easy way to avoid the stress. Skiles Driving School in East Moline has been helping new drivers hit the road with confidence for over 20 years. Whether you're a teen earning your first license or an adult looking for behind-the-wheel training, we've got you covered. Their certified instructors are patient, experienced, and use modern vehicles equipped for safety and comfort. From classroom instruction to real-world driving, we make learning safe, affordable, and even fun. Call 309-278-0098 or visit skylesdriving.com. Skiles Driving School. Get in, buckle up, drive your future forward.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday right here in the Quad Cities. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a fun show, a busy show once again. Everybody on the chat, we appreciate that as well. Make sure if you're watching this for the first time later in the evening or whenever, and you're curious about what I'm talking about, when we're live on YouTube, we got a great chat conversation going. So make sure you hop on there, ask questions, all those kind of things as well. It's been a fun show, busy show. Journey Houston, if you missed her, scroll back, check out the beginning. A great conversation with her. Some of the highlights is she played out of position last year. She played the 4. She's a 3. All right. She has guard skills. She can shoot it. She talked about improving her ball handling and all those kind of things and all that. But she played out of position, so I think she's excited to maybe get back to a more comfortable position this next year. Asked her about if she had a question of coming back, and I love the answer. And some people on social media and on the chat has mentioned, like, she flat out said, hey, I wanted to be a Hawkeye my whole life. I'm here in Iowa. I'm not going anywhere. And I loved how she said she's not afraid to and I'm paraphrasing, so don't yell at me. You can go back and listen to it. But she's not afraid to earn her opportunity or earn her position or her spot, which is refreshing to hear. So and also how she's recruited a little bit when it comes to the visitors coming on campus and all those kind of things. So a lot of fun with Journey Houston. If you missed it, go back and check it out. Kyle Huesmann, great, kind of recapping the addition of Amari Whiting yesterday and where Iowa basketball might be going after that. A little men's basketball as well. And then thank you to John Marx. Always a good sounding board, talking everything, including Illinois retention and all those kind of things as well. During the show, we've had some breaking news on the Iowa State side of things. The Iowa State Cyclones are officially adding women's wrestling to their curriculum, if you will. That's the 18th sport at Iowa State, women's wrestling. Kevin Dresser will become the men's and women's wrestling director of men's and women's wrestling. Brent Metcalf will be the head coach of the men's wrestling program, and Allie St. John will be the first ever women's coach at Iowa State. So Iowa State adding women's wrestling, Iowa doing it a few years ago. Usually Iowa State copies what Iowa, I'm just kidding. So a good day for women's wrestling in the state of Iowa, and we'll have much more with that kind of maybe tomorrow, throughout the week, next week, when it comes to some news. But coming in 2027-28, women's wrestling at Iowa State University. So we'll kind of keep locked in and checking in on that as well. It's funny because I go to social media a lot during the show just to kind of make sure I'm not missing anything. The world of sports is busy right now. So we'll always keep you updated right here on OTA throughout the show and all those kind of things. Coming up tomorrow, WrestleMania weekend is nearly here. WrestleMania takes center stage from Vegas once again, Saturday and Sunday. 2 huge cards. We will preview them. We did it last year, and you guys might be listening to this going, that's kind of dumb. It's not dumb. People like it. And we had really good viewership for last year's show. So we're going to do not the entire show, but we'll do a good WrestleMania preview tomorrow. Don Umland, Nick Bull, maybe Joe Braymeyer as well. So some wrestling experts from around the area to kind of break down the two nights. So it should be a bunch of fun. And we'll do some other things along the way as well tomorrow. Coming up on Monday's show, we'll have Sydney Afalter on the show. She's going to be at St. Ambrose University coming up on Monday evening. So we're going to preview that and then talk some more Iowa women's basketball as well. A lot more things planned next week. Next week is draft week, which is crazy. So it was a bunch of fun. So it should be a bunch of fun. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Like I mentioned, if you missed any of the shows this week, go back and check them out. Luke Johnson on Monday was awesome. Yesterday's show was a bunch of fun today as well. We did take Tuesday off. We snuck up to Iowa City and checked in on Iowa football practice, which was awesome as well. It's been a fun week. So anyways, thank you guys so much for joining me. If you have not subscribed on YouTube, please do that. Make sure you're following, liking, all those kind of fun things. We'll see you back for another episode of Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, Wrestling Edition, WrestleMania preview coming up tomorrow. We'll see you guys then.